What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Team Battlegrounds are here, and for those of you that do not know how to play this game mode or need some tips and tricks, this is going to be your TBG guide. We're going to go through basically everything you need to know. For all of those people that have a team or run a team, I'm going to give you some strategy guides, some rules to follow, maybe some things that you should, rules that you should implement for your entire team to help you get these max rewards all the time, because TBGs are definitely good, especially for the entire team. I mean, being able to get top tier cards guaranteed almost all of the time, at least the way that the rewards are set up now, you can certainly get a lot of good pulls, and you only gotta wait a day and a half to get them, or 2 days in order to get them, which is really nice. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. Hopefully you do enjoy. I'm gonna try to remember everything that you possibly need to know in order to do this. If I do miss anything though, let me know in the comments. And as also that I've mentioned before, if you are looking for a team and you are Amethyst, feel free to find me, look me up. The team is called My Boy Blue, which you'll see. Feel free to send me a message and I'll send you a request, but you have to have Discord. That is one requirement. You have to be able to have Discord, and of course you have to be active. So with all that out of the way, let's jump into this. I'm going to start with the very basics, because yeah, like I said, a lot of people do not play WWE SuperCard. If you do play that game, then you certainly are familiar with this game mode. You know how it works, you know how to play it, and so these tips probably won't help you, because these are all the things that we use in WWE. But if you never play that game and have never played this, then you'll certainly probably be lost for the first couple games at least, and you'll probably screw up a lot, which you don't want to do, because you want to get max rewards and you want to get these top tier cards. So first thing, obviously, how do you play TBG? Well, how do you start one up? Well, you need 8 total members on your team, and they have to be in one of 2 groups. It is separated in 2 separate groups. You can have a max of 10 members in each one. So if you're on a team with either 8 to 10 members, then all 8 or all 10 can join one single TBG and do that. If you have between 10 or 11 and 15, then you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be left out, because you have to have 8 members per team. So if you want to run 2 of them, then you need a total team of 16 members. So if you're in one of those teams that have like 12 members or 13 members and you're always getting left out, you might want to think about maybe switching a team or something like that. But yeah, when you do join, you are given a set number of cards, 6 total cards, just like in Quick Game. All of this is going to be structured around Quick Game. And the games you play are going to be exactly like Quick Game. So you're going to be given 6 random cards. Now, one thing to note is that your opponents are going to have these exact cards. Now, they might not be in the exact same team, and so there might not be a person that has, these are my cards currently right now for the TBG I have. There might not be a person on the team that has all 6 of these exact cards, but all 6 of these exact cards will be somewhere on the other team. And so every single player, if you add up all of the cards on every single player on your team, then your opponent will have all of those same cards as well. So nobody is going to be like, nobody's going to go against a team that has all amethysts or something like that, and you have all sapphires. So it's always going to be balanced. Every team is going to have, or every the entire cards are always going to be exactly the same. Now, based on the cards that you have on your deck or whatever, you're going to be given a point ranking, kind of give you an idea of how strong your deck is. And on the right side next to the name, that is going to be your total deck ranking. And so the top player on my team right now, Jerem's, has 142. He has the best deck right now out of everybody on the team. 138, 130, 130, 108, 108, 122, 122. You can go over to your opponents, and as you see, the numbers are not exactly the same because not every opponent has the exact same cards in the same order. I mean, they're shuffled around, and so you might see some opponents that are really high or really low, or a lot of opponents that are in the middle, just depending on how the cards are distributed throughout the team. And so these are all the opponents' rankings. 142, 136, 130, 130, 124, 122, 114, and 102. And for the sake of strategy, keep this in mind for later on when we talk about who to attack and stuff. We're going to rank these opponents in the order of their deck strength. So this will be the top guy at 142 will be called opponent number 1. Opponent number 2 will be the second guy, 3, 4, 5, and so on all the way down. It's the same with my team as well. The people on my team, players on my team, they're going to be just named player 1, player 2, player 3, based on total deck strength from the top all the way to the bottom. So then you talk about, well, now that you got your cards, what do you need to do? Well, when you first get your cards, you're going to have to acquire what we call charges. Now, these charges boost the stats of the cards. Each card, you're given 20 total charges. And so, in order to max out your deck to get the highest amount of stat values that you possibly can, you need to get a total of 120 charges. 20 charges per card, 6 total cards, 120 cards, or 120 charges. So every single TBG, you're going to want to max out all of your cards, obviously, because when you play your opponent, you're going to want to have the best stats possible. I don't want to be trying to beat a opponent with a level 0 Sapphire Jonathan Isaacs. That's going to make my life a lot more difficult. So I'm going to want to put in 20 charges into this Jonathan Isaacs, and it is going to increase the stats. Now, it obviously didn't do it right there because, I don't know, sometimes it has like a little glitch or whatever. But you see that it put in 2 charges and the stats went up to level 4. So now it's a level 4 Sapphire. And so as you're doing this and as you're putting in charges, those charges will max out the cards to the maximum level value of that card. So then next question, well, how do you get charges? Well, you have to play the game in order to get charges. And the only way to play the game right now is going to be through Quick Game. Unfortunately, you do not get a charge for completing Quick Game. You have to get them on the draft board. And so, as you play Quick Game, you just pick cards, just like you normally do. And then a charge, as you see, will just fly up on the screen, and I just got 1 single charge. If you look down here at the bottom left, you can see a count of your total charges, which is kind of nice. I mean, it lets you know how close you are, how many charges you need in order to completely max out your deck. Now, sometimes, as you see, we've done, 15 picks? We've only gotten 1 charge, now 2 charges. This does take a little time. So, for those of you that think that you're just going to fly through it and get a charge on every single card, doesn't happen. I mean, we just did, 20 picks, got 13 charges, or got 3 charges, and that's it out of 13 or 20 picks, which isn't a lot. So you're going to have to play lots of quick games. One thing I did notice, though, which is very, very handy, and I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but since they put in this little draft board menu right here, after you play quick game and you get your 3 picks, go down here, hit your add, get your 4 extra picks, and you can back out now of the draft board instead of force quitting it if you were like stacking up picks or something like that. So you can get your 7 picks, 3 from the perfect game, 4 from the ad, and then just back out of the draft board and then play another quick game. So that's how I do it. I build up my picks till 50, and then I just use all 50 of them on the draft board at one time. Now, if you're somebody that is behind on time and don't have a lot of time and have to get all of your charges because you need to get all of your charges, and if you're on my team, it is a requirement for you to get all of your charges. That is certainly a must. I mean, TBGs are taken seriously in WWE and in NBA SuperCard. I mean, these things are definitely taken very seriously. So, because of course we want max rewards, and one single person can mess it up for the entire team, which is very disappointing. So you don't ever want to be that person. So like I said, get all your charges. But if you are running out of time, down here at the bottom, they have charge modifiers. Now, I do this on WWE SuperCard a lot. I mean, I don't want to say a lot, but at least once a week, maybe once every other week, I do this for sure. You can get these charge multipliers. They do cost credits, but I always get just the ×2 multipliers. So instead, they have a ×2, ×3, ×4, and ×5. But I usually get this ×2. And so for 30 minutes, every single charge that you get on the draft board, instead of getting one charge, it's going to give you 2 charges. So you can pick up a lot of extra charges that way. They also have a team boost for charges that last 60 total minutes, but that's 500 credits. Not everybody does this, and you know, if you have extra credits, then you can certainly do it. I personally do it in WWE because sometimes I have so many games that I play and I just run out of time and I have to charge. So that's one of the requirements. So sometimes I do these charge modifiers. So that's just an option for those of you that need an extra boost in getting charges from the board. Now, it does not matter how you do your charges. Like I said, you could just not charge any of your cards at all, save up 120 and then click use all. Or you could just do them individually, however you want to do it, and put them in one by one, and then do some of them at one time, do some of them another time. Or you could just click use all and it will distribute all 32 of them into your thing. However you want to do it, it doesn't matter. You can do them one by one, save them all up. Makes no difference, but still, charge all of yours. So you shouldn't have to worry about it. Get 120. Talk about rewards. So for winning a TBG, you're going to get a platinum pack. Now, currently, it says based on your top 8. Now, this should be total team deck. I don't know why it says based on your top 8. I've tweeted them and asked them. No response, of course. But these cards, these packs, should be based on your total team deck. But currently, right now, it has it as your top 8. And so once it changes, I'm going to assume that it changes because that's how it is in WWE SuperCard and everything is exactly the same. So I would only assume that, and this is a team event, so it should be based on your total team deck. So keep that in mind for those of you that are on a specific team right now. If you are in Amethyst tier and your team is Ruby tier, that when this does change, when you do TBGs, you will only be getting max Ruby cards instead of Amethyst, even though your deck tier is Amethyst. And if it's set up like this, it certainly hurts lower tiered players, because if you are only, say, Sapphire tier, why would you ever care about doing a TBG? I mean, you're not interested in getting Sapphire cards. You need Amethyst, you need Rubies, you need things like that. So you would have to do all of this, and then your teammate who does the exact same thing is going to be getting an Amethyst card, and you're only going to be getting a Sapphire, and you're doing the same amount of work. It just makes absolutely no sense. So it is a team event. It should be based on that. But either way, right now that's how it's set up. You will get super coins as well for winning. Right now it shows 700 super coins, which is interesting because this has changed, actually. Before it said 1,500 and 550, which was 2,500. Now it's only saying 700, and that is it, which makes it even worse because obviously when you are trying to grind out for the Superstore and you have packs that cost 15,000 super coins, you know how many TBGs you're going to have to do in order, you know, when you're only getting 700 super coins each? That's stupid. But either way, Platinum pack, that's only if you win. Now, in WWE SuperCard, the maximum score that you can get is 15,000. Now, if both teams get 15,000, before it used to be that it counted as a loss. If you got a perfect score and the opponent got a perfect score, 15,000 each, then both of you lost. Now, it's set up to where if you get 15,000 and your opponent gets 15,000, both of you get a win. And so if you get a perfect score, then you're guaranteed a win. It does not say that on here, so I would be cautious of that. I don't know if it's only going to do a winner like it used to be in WWE, and if you tied, then both people lost. But yeah, we'll just have to see. And then consolation is going to be if you lose. If you get above 10,000, then you get these specific rewards, 8,000, etc. Down at the bottom, this is the team tier. Right now we are Amethyst, and so even if it does change the rewards like it should be, then all of us are going to get the same packs anyway. They also have a leaderboard down here at the bottom, which is kind of cool. We'll have to see how this works, if this is based on total team average. If it loads, I don't know if it'll load or not. Or maybe it's not. I mean, nobody's done a TBG, so I don't even know if it's going to be on there or not. But either way, there is a leaderboard, so that's kind of cool. Maybe they'll do it based on total team record. Maybe they'll do it based on solely your average. It probably should be a combination of both. Maybe get some points for being, 10-0. But if your average is 15,000 and you're 10-0, then you need to be number 1 overall. If you have the highest average and undefeated, you should be number 1. But I don't know. We'll have to see how the leaderboard works. But it does have that on there, so that's kind of cool. All right, so you joined your TBG. You got all of your charges. You got 120 charges. You put all of your charges into your cards, and your entire team is then currently maxed out on all of their charges. Now, we're not quite there yet. We will get there eventually. We still have 12 hours left of the prep phase, which is another thing I forgot to mention. You have 24 hours to prep your cards. Once that 24 hours is over, you can no longer charge cards. So you have to get all 120 charges before this prep phase is over. If it does not end and you only have, down here at the bottom, or I'll just take me for example. If these are all the charges that I have once that 24 hours is over, then those are my cards that I can use, and I'm going to get screwed. You're going to end up screwing your team over because you can't get any points and you can't beat anybody because your cards are not any good. So don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that does not get their charges and does not can't do any of your attacks. But going forward, at least for this video, let's assume that we got all of our charges. Everybody on the team is completely maxed out, and we're just waiting to see whether or not the opponent is going to be maxed out or not. Now, like I said, when you have your teams, you could either have 8, 9, or 10 members on a team, and depending on how many members you have is going to determine what sort of strategy you implement in order to face your opponent. Because each single person has 15 total attacks. Okay? So every single person can only attack 15 total times. Now, you can only attack one specific opponent 5 total times. So if we look at Jerem's right here, he is only going to be able to attack this 804 Sean guy a maximum of 5 times. Even though he has 15 total attacks, he can't use all 15 attacks on Sean. He can only use a maximum of 5 attacks for one specific opponent at a time. So that's why a strategy is going to be implemented here. So we're going to have 15 attacks, 15 attacks. Every single person on your team is only going to attack 15 total times. And you have to pick your opponents in a way to where every single opponent gets attacked 15 times but not one individual person can attack more than 5 times. Now, if you are a team owner and you are new to TBGs, I would highly recommend that you designate a person to come up with your TBG strategy, your TBG attack plan. Do not let anybody on your team just randomly attack people. Make sure that everybody knows to wait for the TBG plan, the TBG attack strategy, and that again goes for everybody on my team as well. Do not just start randomly attacking people. You wait for somebody to say, hey, Germs, you attack this person this many times, this person this many times. Renegade, you attack this person this many times, this person this many times, so on. That way you have a specific person that's designated to come up with a plan to where everybody can use all 15 attacks and every single opponent is attacked 15 times and you can get a max score of 15,000. Another thing that I would highly recommend is that if you do TBGs and you do take this seriously, I would recommend you having some form of communication other than the chat in here. Because these attack plans you're going to have to give to the entire team. And so you're going to want some method of communication. So I personally use Discord. That is why in order to be on the team, you are required to have Discord, because I post these attack plans in the Discord and everybody can look at them. Everybody on our team can go to Discord, check out what opponents they need to face, what opponents they need to attack, and go on from there. And that way it's just an easy form of communication instead of putting it in chat. If you put it in chat, then, you know, if somebody misses it and so many people post in chat, then it disappears. And then you got to post it again. And then somebody's like, if he checks in 5 hours later, you know, and he's like, where's the attack plan? And they're like, I already posted it in chat. And well, it's not in chat anymore. And then you got to give it to him again. It's just a pain in the ass. So get some form like Discord or something else, whatever it is that you want to use. Now, as far as the strategy goes, which I'm going to give you general strategies for 8 player teams, 9 player teams, and 10 player teams. Once we start doing these strategies, like I said, I number these players on my team in the order of highest deck to lowest deck. It's going to automatically do that for you. And so Germs is going to be 1. Renegade is going to be 2. L Factor is going to be 3, etc. I only have 8 members in this TBG right now, so it's going to be numbered 1 through 8. Same with opponents. The top guy, 142, he is going to be opponent 1, opponent 2, opponent 3, etc. Numbering them like that from highest deck strength to lowest deck strength is the easiest way to do it. Now let's talk about a general attack strategy. Now this is, again, just your general case-by-case scenario. Now, assuming that every single person on your team charged, and assuming every single person on their team charged, and the decks are somewhat equally balanced from top to bottom, then this is going to be your basic general format on who you want to attack as a general rule. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is set in stone every single time. Once you start getting used to how to organize this and how to do this, then you can certainly make adjustments. But 8 members, 9 members, 10 members, those are your only 3 options. I personally have 8 members in my TBG right now. And so this is the attack strategy as a general rule for an 8-member team. Number 1 is going to attack, as you see right here. Number 1 is going to attack opponent 1, 2, and 3. So player 1 on my team is going to attack opponent 1 5 times, opponent 2 5 times, opponent 3 5 times. Player 2 is going to attack player 1 5 times, player 2 5 times, player 4 5 times. And then player 3, 1, 3, and 4. 4 is going to go 2, 3, and 4, and then so on. So, and like I said, each single person on the team can only attack an opponent a maximum of 5 times. So if you give each player on your team 3 different opponents to attack 5 times each, that is 15 total attacks. Now your opponent can only be attacked a total of 15 times. So you can't have everybody attack player 1 and everybody just attack him and get maximum score that way. It doesn't work. The opponent can only be attacked 15 times. You can only attack 15 times. So you need to set it up in a way to where it works out exactly 15 and 15 and 15 for every single person. Nobody is over attacked, nobody is under attacked, and everybody has the same number of attacks. 9 members is a lot easier because 3, 3, and 3, that is probably the easiest way to do it. Player 1 just attacks 1, 2, and 3. Player 2, 1, 2, and 3. Player 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then 4, 5, and 6, 4, 5, and 6, 4, 5, and 6. 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9. So when there's only 9 members, that's pretty simple. The general rule is pretty simple. 10 members, you're going to have kind of a mix of the 8 and the 9 strategy combined. And so player 1, 1, 2, and 3. Player 2, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then 4, 5, and 6, 4, 5, and 6, 4, 5, and 6. And then when you get down to 7, 8, and 9, you can, or then you got to kind of implement the 8 member strategy where it's 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 10, 7, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And so, also, another thing to keep in mind, these members down here where it is 7, 8, and 9, if you want to, or 7, 8, 9, and 10, you can put that group of 4 as 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can put them up at the top and then change the numbers accordingly, right? And kind of have 1, 2, 3, and 4 the exact same as the 8 members, and then do 5, 6, 7 to attack 5, 6, and 7, and then 8, 9, and 10 attack 8, 9, and 10, if that makes sense. But like I said, for 8, 9, and 10 members, these are your general rules on the opponents and who you want to attack. If you're still having a little trouble figuring this out and seeing exactly what it is that you're doing here, I set it up as like a little grid. And so for my particular team right now, I have on my left side right here, I have 8 total members. And on the top of my little graph right here, I have 8 total members for my opponents. And so player 1 on the left side is going to attack opponent 1 5 times, 5 times, and 5 times. For a total, follow the row all the way across, the total is going to be 15 total attacks. Player 2 is going to attack opponent 1, opponent 2, and opponent 4 for 15 total attacks. Then player 3, 1, 3, 4, 15 total attacks. Now if you set up your grid like this, you can see that each single person, as you follow the rows across, each single person has to have a total of 15. Every single column going up to down, every single column, which is your opponents, all of those have to be attacked 15 total times. There cannot be any more or any less. It has to add up to 50 exactly, every single column, every single row. Now you can set this little table up or graph up for when you have 9 opponents, or when you have 9 players on your team, and when you have 10 players on your team. And another thing I forgot to mention, if you only have 8 opponents, or if you only have 8 members on your team, you're only going to face somebody that has 8 members on their team. If you have 8 members, you're not going to face anybody that has 9 members or 10 members. If you have 10 members on your team, you're only going to face teams that have 10 members on their TBG. No less than that. It's always going to be exactly the same number of opponents. Here is another scenario in which I set up this little graph. Now, let's just assume in your TBG that you have a 10-member team in your TBG. Every single member of your team charged. But the opponent team, there was 3 people on their team that did not charge, but the other 7 did charge. Now, I just made up this case scenario. Opponent 1 did not charge, opponent 5 did not charge, and opponent 8 did not charge. But the rest of the opponents did charge. Now, once you get more comfortable in setting this up, you might want to change your strategy to kind of help out your team. Now, if you think about your team, player number 1 on your team, that is the guy that has the highest deck, the best deck. What purpose does it really serve for the best player on your team to attack opponent 1 who had 0 charges? He has awesome cards. He doesn't need to attack somebody that has crappy cards and no charge. So in a scenario like this, what you want to think about is, well, I have 3 players on my team, number 8, 9, and 10, that have the worst cards of the total deck. So since there were 3 opponents that did not charge, why not give the bottom 3 just those people to attack? They have the worst cards in your team, so give them the opponents that did not charge, make their life a lot easier so they don't have to struggle in the TBG. So as you see, opponent 8, 9, and 10 will be attacking 5 times player 1, player 5, and player 8. 5 times. Once you set it up like that, then you have to remember that, well, every column and every row have to add up to a total of 15. So then you go back to the top and say, well, 2, 3, and 4, they all charge. So that's who I'm going to give my team player 1, player 2, and player 3. They're going to attack opponents 2, 3, and 4 5 times. And you see the columns add up to 15. Then you go over to 5, 6, 9, and 10. There are 4 players left on your team, 4 opponents left, and then you kind of set it up very similar to when you only had 8 members. So 5, 5 for 6, 7, and 9, and then 6, 7, and 10, and then 6, 9, and 10, and then 7, 9, and 10. And if you set up the graph like this, or the little table like this, then every row has 15 attacks. Every column has 15 attacks. And that way you can check yourself to make sure that you did not assign too many attacks to one opponent or too many somebody on your team to give them more attacks than they should have had. So that's your basic strategies. I mean, once you get used to doing these, you can certainly get a little bit more creative. You can even come to a point where you assign, 3 attacks to one player and then 2 attacks to another, and you can get pretty creative with how you do your attacks. But at least at the start, if you're not familiar with it, follow one of those basic attack strategy plans and you will be able to get a maximum score of 15,000 every single time. Now, it does not matter if you have 8 members, 9 members, or 10 members. The total score is always going to add up to 15,000. These point values right here, 142, we only have 8 members on our team. But if we had 9 members on our team, these general point values would go down a little bit, because since there's an extra member, you'll have 15 extra attacks, which means that the total score is still going to add up to 15,000, but in order to do that, they have to drop these point values. So the point values on your right will adjust depending on how many members you have in your team. That's all irrelevant. This just gives you a basic general idea of just how strong their deck is. But anyways, you have somebody on your team. They assign the attack plan. You know who you're supposed to attack. And let's take, for example, Jerem's right here. We know that he's the best guy on our team. And so he's going to be attacking opponent 1, opponent 2, and opponent 3, each of them 5 times. Now, once this starts, it's going to look a little different, so keep this in mind. But once this starts, you're going to see like a little tab over here that tells you to attack. Now, when you could click on this, and it will show that all 6 of these cards are hidden. Well, they're only hidden because nobody has attacked them yet and shown or revealed what cards they are. Now remember, this is exactly like Quick Game. Exactly like Quick Game. So, when you play Quick Game, And if I am attacking this guy, 804 Sean, and I win, then whatever cards were played in that game, they will then be revealed for me to see. So next time I go to attack this guy, if I click on his name and I've played him a couple times already, then I know what cards he has. I know what cards to look out for. So for example, let's just say with Sean, he has an Amethyst at card number 3 right here. I'm just going to label them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, in that order, from left to right, top to bottom. So let's say he has an Amethyst in card 3, card 4, and card 6. Now, this is exactly like Quick Game. Okay? So think about this in the same sense as Quick Game. Remember what we just said. 3, 4, and 6. Now, since I am going into Quick Game right now and not the actual TBG, the Amethyst won't pop up. But think about this. The cards are going to be read from the right side of the screen to the left side of the screen. So this is going to be card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4, card 5, and card 6. Now, if we know already before going into the game that he has an Amethyst at card 3, card 4, and card 6, we can see what card they play. So I'm like, oh, okay, he's playing card 5. I know that's not an Amethyst, so I don't have to necessarily worry about what is going to be played. I mean, here it is an Amethyst because, like I said, this is just Quick Game. But, you know what card stats you have. And you know what card stats they have as a general rule. And so you're going to be like, okay, well, you know what to expect. Well, here's card 3. Well, then I would know, hey, I'm going to get an Amethyst. That's another thing to note as well. All of these cards in TBGs are going to be singles. They will never be pros. They're always going to be just single cards. So maximum stats for Amethyst, Rubies, Sapphires, all of them are always going to be single cards and never pros. So, here's another thing you got to keep in mind, and this is very, very important when it comes to my team. Let's say that the score is tied, and we're on our very last match right here. Now, if they're going to play since this is card 4 right here, they're going to play an Amethyst. Let's say I do not have an Amethyst left. And I know if they play that Amethyst and I play my card, I am going to lose. Well, just like you normally would do in Quick Game, if you know that you are going to lose and you don't want that loss to be counted on your overall record, what do? You force quit. Okay, you just close the app. Okay, if you close the app, then it won't count the game and it won't count the loss. Okay, that's how it works in WWE SuperCard. Now, I'm going to assume that it works exactly the same in NBA SuperCard. Now, obviously, I don't know that 100% for sure because we haven't played a TBG yet. But I'm going to assume, since everything else is exactly the same, I'm going to assume that it runs exactly the same. So if you're on my team and on any other team, you do not lose TBG matchups, because if you know you're going to lose, you just force quit. You close the game, close the app, so it doesn't count as a loss. Because if you do get a loss, then that counts as one of your attacks and you get 0 points. And then you can no longer get 15,000 for your total score, so you might end up losing. One single loss, guys, and I can't emphasize this enough, one single loss can cost your entire team a TBG. I can't even tell you how many times that in the TBGs that I've played that we go to 15,000, and one single loss will lose you the TBG, will lose you a top tier card. So you don't want to be the guy on your team that gets that one loss, that prevents your team from getting 15,000, that prevents your team from winning, that prevents your team from getting a top tier card. So do yourself a favor, do your team a favor, If you know you are going to lose, or if you think you are going to lose, don't take the chance. Just force quit and close the game, and then there'll be a cooldown period. It won't let you attack. It won't let you open it up and then attack. You have to wait, I think, like 5 minutes or so in order for you to be able to attack again, and in order for you to be able to refresh it. If you do force quit, there's a cooldown. If you don't force quit and you win the match, you can keep attacking over and over and over. There is no cooldown if you win, but if you do force quit, you have to do that. But let's say you have an amethyst and I have an amethyst, or they have an amethyst and you have an amethyst. So what you're going to want to do, if you don't remember necessarily the stats, I don't recommend this, especially if you're a new player. If you get used to it, I mean, I do this in WWE SuperCard just because I'm used to it and I know how to do it. But if you know you have an amethyst and you know they have an amethyst but don't remember exactly the stats, then you can just click it real quick. The card will pop up right there, and then you could just look at your stats really fast to see if your stats are higher than yours, or if you proc and they proc. But I'm going to tell you, if you're on my team and you've never done TBGs and you're not used to them, don't do this. Okay? Because this does take practice, and you have to be super fast to force quit it. Because once the animation starts, it will count as a loss if you lose. Okay? It's not go all the way to the end game, or go all the way to the draft board type of thing and it counts as a loss. If you're on the very last card and the animation starts where they start fighting each other and you were gonna lose that matchup, you will lose the matchup if you don't force quit fast enough. So I certainly wouldn't recommend doing that. And if you're on my team and you do that and you get the L, it's your ass. I'm telling you, it's your ass. Don't do it unless you are 100% super confident that you can force quit that thing. I mean, the second that the card pops up. Once that card pops up and you force quit it, you better close it that fast. You know, that's how quick you gotta force quit it. But I'm just going to give you that option to be able to do that because you can just glance at the stats. But again, that's how it works in WWE SuperCard. I'm not obviously 100% sure that it works exactly the same, but I'm just going to assume, and everything that we're doing today is based on that itself. So at least for the start, for those of you that are on NBA and have never done TBGs, don't even risk playing the last card. Don't even do it. Don't even bother. There are no support cards. There's no way for you to get additional boosts except for your proc. And if you know that you're not going to be able to beat it, then I would just force quit and try again. You got 24 total hours. I think you can get it done. And what's going on with the network? So hopefully that explains it. Hopefully that explains what you need to do for your strategies, what you need to do for your attacks. And like I said, if you're on my team, you're going to have to be careful. You're going to have to play this very safe. Pay attention to what you're doing. This is not like Quick Game where you can just click, 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 and just run through it. And if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. No, it is not like that. It does not work like that. You cannot lose. Okay? You do not lose. The fastest way to get kicked from any team, regardless if it's my team or another team or in WWE SuperCard or anything like that, the fastest way to get kicked off a team is to not charge and mess up your TBG. Do not do that, and do not be one of those guys. You have to be careful and pay attention to what you're doing. You got to pay attention to your attacks. Now, with all that being said, though, there are going to be people that struggle. There will be people that struggle in this game. Now, right now, we have Roberts down here and Mello. Both of them have a score of 108. That's really low. That's the lowest on the team. Now, if you look at the opponents on the team, they have a 102, which is not going to be a problem. 114, which is going to be a little difficult. But then they got a 122. Your deck scores a 108. Now, let's just look at this by comparison. Mello has 1 amethyst right now, which is Paul Millsap, and 2 rubies. Let's see if we have a 122. I have a 122. So I have 2 amethysts and 2 rubies. Now let's assume that the 122 is exactly the same. I mean, we don't know exactly. It's going to be a combination of something, but let's just assume the 122 is exactly the same. So the Mellow and Roberts are going to be going against 2 amethysts and 2 rubies with their 1 amethyst and 2 rubies. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be difficult. You have worse cards than your opponent. Now, you're going to find out that they don't always play the best cards first. They don't always play the amethyst first. They will at the beginning, but if you play them enough, force quit enough, I've learned and found out over years and years of experience doing these TBGs, I have found out that then they stop picking the best cards. If the computer like automatically like eventually figures out that you can't beat them and have difficulty beat them, so then they'll start playing like a ruby first or something, and then you could play, then Mellow could play his amethyst. Now remember, a win is a win. Obviously a win is a win, but if you tie the matchup, you win. Okay, so a tie is a win. And you don't have to go perfect game. So you can lose. There are strategies, just like you do in quick game. If you know that your opponent is playing an Ami card, you can play the strategy of throwing away your Sapphire. It gets rid of one of his amethysts. You think you're going to lose that anyway, so why not throw away a Sapphire? You could do that. And that way your next card, you can play your amethyst, or you can play your tag. Now, unfortunately, he does not have any tags here. He has 3 left arrows. No tags. That's going to be difficult. He has 2 sapphires, which are WNBA, and neither one of those are tags, which is going to be difficult. So Mellow and Roberts are both going to struggle versus the 122. Unfortunately, that's just the way that things play out sometimes. These deck orders, these deck strengths are not the same every single TBG. Mellow and Roberts might get the 2 best decks the next TBG. And me and somebody else, me and Jerems might get the worst decks for the next TBG, and we might have to struggle for the next one. So that's why it's important for you to come up with a optimal strategy. It's important for you to charge 100%, and it's important, essential, for you to do your attacks properly and make sure that you do not lose. Pay attention to what you were doing and force quit if you have to. Couple final things that I want to mention. Down here at the bottom under the social tab, there is a scout and recruit button. Well, we know who we're going to be facing. We're going to be facing Grinding City. Grinding City. Now you can go into Scout and you can search for this team, Grinding City. Now I can see the team, Grinding City. They are only a Sapphire team. Now obviously this doesn't apply to every single Sapphire team or every single lower tiered team, but generally speaking, lower tiered teams do not charge as much as top tier teams. That's just how it is. If you are top tier and you face a top tier team, you can probably expect them to 100% fully charge 120 max. It doesn't always happen to where lower tier teams do not charge. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they 100% completely charge. But if you have somebody on your team right here like Big BP Trigo, he is a Emerald who's played 89 games. I'm going to assume that he's probably not going to charge. I mean, he probably won't. Madden, he has 2 wins. He's a gold. He's probably not going to charge. I don't know if... There's only 8 members right now that are on the team. Okay? Or playing in the TBG, right? So 8 out of these 11 are going to be on there. 804 Sean, we did see his name. He's Ruby Plus. I'm going to assume he's going to fully charge. This guy right here, this Ruby right here, that I'm going to assume that that guy is going to fully charge. But the rest of them are Sapphires and Emeralds. I don't know if they're going to charge. Point being is you can scout out the other team to kind of see what you're going up against, but it doesn't change the fact you still have to charge 100% of the time. If you're on my team, you still got to charge 120 charges no matter what. If they do not charge, then that's a relief, and you could just kick back, relax for an easy W. But that still means, especially if you're on my team, you still have to do all your attacks, and we still have to get 15,000. So that's just part of being in a top tier team. You want to be in a top tier team, you want to be in an amethyst team, then you need to put it forth the effort to be in a top tier team. Because if you don't want to do that, then somebody else obviously will take your place. Last thing I want to recommend with this long video is that, again, and this again applies to everybody on my team, once TBG starts, once this prep phase is over, do not attack anybody on the team until your TBG strat person has given you your strategy and who to attack. I can't emphasize that enough. Do not attack just all willy-nilly. Again, that is almost immediate kick, immediate removal. If you're not even going to follow the attack plan, if you're not even going to follow instructions and follow rules, then yeah, go to a lower tier team that doesn't care about winning, that doesn't care about any of that stuff. But point being is that the person that designates that, you know, if you're the owner and you designate someone to do a strat plan, you should have that same person test out the opponents first to see if any of them did not charge. So for example, Sean, he was a Ruby Plus player. I'm gonna assume that he probably charged, but since I'm doing the strat, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into this guy right here, this person, and I'm going to attack him. Now, I'm gonna play a couple of rounds. I'm not gonna complete the game. I'm just gonna play a couple of rounds just to see if he attacked or not, or see if he charged or not. That way, if this 136, if I attack him and see that he did not charge and then force quit, it's not going to count the game, but I'll be able to tell whether or not they charged, and I can make the strategy appropriate. So if this 136 did not charge, then I'm going to assign my 10th guy down there at the bottom, you know, our two guys that have 108. I'm going to tell them to attack this 136 guy because he did not charge. If he didn't charge, then the 108 guys will be able to beat him absolutely no problem. Makes their life a heck of a lot easier. So I'm just going to go through each one of these really quick and play one game really not play an entire game, just play a couple rounds of one game and then force quit it just to see who charged and who didn't. And that way I can adjust my strategy appropriately. But anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it. I think this has been a crazy long video. I did not necessarily expect this video to go this long, but this is a lot of information. And I wanted to make sure it is crystal clear to not only to my teammates, but to anybody else who wants to set up these TBGs, who have never played WWE SuperCard, have never done any of that. Basically tell you exactly what you need to know, how you need to do it, what you should do, general recommendations, and all of that stuff. That way you can get 15,000 every single time and be on top of that leaderboard with us. Because you want to fight for number one, you're going to have to go through my boy Blue. That is for sure. Yeah, I think that's it. So hopefully you did enjoy. Hopefully this helped. Hopefully this helped everybody on my team and your team and everybody else. If I did miss anything, let me know in the description or let me know in the comments. I can't really think of anything offhand. 24-hour prep phase, 24-hour attack phase. I don't know if I forgot to mention that, but once this prep phase is over, these 10 hours and 37 minutes, the second that it ends, we now have 24 hours to do our attacks. Once that ends, then we could claim our rewards. Whether or not we win or lose, they'll go into our inbox, and then you have a 12-hour cooldown period, and then you can start another TBG. If you have somebody that did not do what they were supposed to, you have 12 hours after the period is over for people to leave and come in and start another one. You can kick them, whatever it is that you got to do to handle your business. But yeah, that's going to do it for the video. This went on long enough. Let me know if I missed anything. Hopefully all of this stuff helped, and good luck to everybody on your TBGs. Good luck on the event today. Get you that AMI dirt card, and good luck getting your charges. And let me know if you have any other questions. If you feel like joining a Discord, I have my Discord. It's in the description if you have more questions about that. But I'll see y'all again very soon. Y'all take it easy. Have a good weekend. I am out. Peace.